Hello everybody, my name is Sanad and welcome to another update video. Before we get started, I would appreciate it if you smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to turn on your notifications, and let's jump straight into the video. Today, a lot of equipment was destroyed on both sides. Let me show you some footage. The Ukrainian forces targeting a Russian mechanized group near Vladimir in the Donetsk region were able to destroy 2 Russian BMPs and 1 BTR. The Russians have made some progress in this area today, but we'll talk about that later on in the video. The Russian forces were able to hit and damage a Ukrainian gunboat with a kamikaze drone. Recently, we have seen a lot of videos of Russians using these kamikaze drones to target the Ukrainian forces, and they are proving to be very effective. Another Russian T-80 tank was ambushed and destroyed by Ukrainian paratroopers. As you can see, the guy got very close before firing off a shot. This Ukrainian soldier is definitely braver than most. In the vicinity of Bakhmut in the Donetsk region, Russian forces were able to use loitering ammunition to take out a Ukrainian Strela-10 short-range air defense system. Unfortunately, it was completely destroyed. 2 more Ukrainian 155mm self-propelled howitzers were also destroyed using the same loitering ammunition, this time in the south, most likely in the Kherson region. According to Western experts, the Russians are pulling back their forces and they are trying to create a 10 to 30 kilometer deep military front on the other side of the Dnipro River. They will most likely depopulate the entire area in yellow, and only Russian forces will be left in this area. This is good news in my opinion because it will allow the Ukrainian forces to pretty much target this entire line with their artillery. Today was another bad day for the Russians. They lost 840 troops, 16 tanks, and 28 armored personnel vehicles. Just a week ago, their losses were around 70,000 troops. Today, it is almost at 75,000. Also, a lot of people have been asking me, how come you don't mention Ukrainian losses? One of the reasons being is we don't have official numbers, but personally, I do believe it is around the same. Here's some news coming from Belarus. Their armed forces have took up firing positions on the Ukrainian border. They have stated that they were trying to repel possible aggression from the Ukrainian side. There is video footage of a Ukrainian armored vehicle crossing the border into Belarus. Hopefully this situation doesn't escalate further. Here's a cool infographic that shows the number of weapons that the West has and the number of weapons the West has supplied to Ukraine. This is since the beginning of the Russian invasion. NATO countries have transferred about 1.4% of their armored vehicles to Ukraine. The largest supplier is the United States that has transferred 1,140 units. But in relation to its stockpiles of weapons, this is only 0.8% of all the armored vehicles that the United States has. On the other hand, the Czech Republic and the UK have become the most generous suppliers of artillery. The Czech Republic has transferred about 40% of all of its artillery systems to Ukraine. Britain has transferred 25%. I am very impressed by the Czech Republic. They are not the richest country, they are not the strongest, but they are doing everything they can to help out Ukraine. Chinese President Xi Jinping has told the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz he opposed the use of nuclear weapons in Europe. Is China slowly realizing that Russia cannot win this war and now they are trying to change their positions? Let me know in the comments section below. The Ukrainian government has confirmed another package of military aid from the United States, and they stated that the US will make an official announcement sometime today. Hopefully it is more air defense systems. Here's some video footage of the Ukrainian bridge. As you can see, the Russians are trying to repair it, but it is nowhere near completion. This map shows large movement of forces. As you can see, Ukraine is sending a lot of reinforcements to the Kherson region, also to Kyiv and Luhansk, while the Russians are trying to reinforce the Luhansk front lines, most likely with new conscripts, and they are mounting massive attacks in Bakhmut and in the Donetsk area as well. And now let's take a quick look at the map. The map hasn't been updated today. I'm trying to put out this video super early, so I'll probably make another one later on tonight if the map gets updated. As I stated in my previous updates, major battles are taking place in this area just east of Kupiansk, and the Ukrainian forces are having some success. But when we go south around Crimea, the Russian forces continue to counterattack, and they are bringing in even more troops in order to reinforce this line. According to a lot of Russian and Ukrainian sources, the Russians are pretty much trying to push the Ukrainians across the river. Both sides are planning counterattacks on the entire front line. We will see how it turns out in the next week or two. Around Lysychansk, there are no major updates, and let's talk about Bakhmut. This is where a lot of major battles are taking place. The Ukrainian forces have pretty much stabilized the front line in the north around Soledar, but they are having a very tough time in the south. And the Russian forces are making progress in the south, and they are inching closer and closer to Bakhmut. Here's some video footage from Bakhmut. As you can see, the majority of the buildings are completely destroyed. Russia is using a lot of artillery, and they are pretty much trying to level the entire city. Here's a quick video of the Ukrainian 93rd Brigade destroying a Russian warehouse with ammunition in the Bakhmut direction. Both sides have sent in a lot of reinforcements to this area, but the battles are still extremely difficult. And when we go south to the Donetsk area, the Russians have made even more progress in this area around Vladimir. I had some video footage from this area, but my computer is so crowded that I wasn't able to find it. East of Donetsk, the Russians are attacking in multiple directions, and they are having some partial success. And now let's quickly go to the south. In this area right here, the battles are still raging. There are still major battles taking place in Pavlivka. The town is currently split between the two. Other than that, there are no major updates in the Zaporizhia area or the Kherson region. Here's a map that shows all the stuff that is currently happening in Kherson. More and more people are coming out and stating that Russia will be withdrawing from Kherson. Right now, in my opinion, it is still uncertain what will happen. If the Russian forces do withdraw from Kherson, this will bring the Ukrainian systems a lot closer to Crimea and other supply lines. Artillery systems and HIMARS will be able to inflict even more damage to the Russians. Once Russia starts officially withdrawing 30,000 troops from the Kherson region, this will present the Ukrainians an amazing opportunity to take out as many of them as possible. A lot of them will be new conscripts that Russia has sent in to replace the well-trained soldiers. They are pretty much swapping out soldiers. One other thing that I would like to mention, once Kherson is finally liberated by the Ukrainian forces, this will mean that a lot of soldiers on both sides will be freed up in order to fight on other front lines. The Dnipro River is a large natural barrier that will pretty much prevent either side from crossing and advancing. Also, it doesn't require a lot of soldiers to defend. Once Kherson is liberated by the Ukrainian forces, there will be a lot of difficult battles all across the front line. Russia will take a lot of those forces to these other front lines. Also, Ukraine will do the same, so expect a lot of difficult battles. Also, right here near the Novakhovka Dam, a Russian tank fell in right in the beginning of the war, and now the tank is visible. It means that the water level has decreased significantly. The 3 Russians in the tank did not make it. Here's a very good example of why ballistic goggles are definitely needed on the front lines. With shrapnel flying everywhere, these things will be very useful. Even the wildlife is helping Ukraine win this war. This owl is part of Ukraine's deadly aviation team. Today, the Russian president signed a law allowing conscription of citizens that have criminal records, that have convictions for serious crimes. So expect a lot more Russian criminals fighting in Ukraine. According to Russian sources, 5,000 civilians are being evacuated from Kherson every single day. I'm not sure how accurate this information is. How will they evacuate 5,000 people across the Dnipro River, especially while most of the crossings are completely destroyed? Here's some footage of more mobilized Russians in Crimea. Here's some video footage of Ukrainian soldiers helping civilians evacuate the village of Stelmakivka. This village is directly on the front lines. These people are leaving everything behind and only bringing with them what they can carry. Alright everybody, that concludes this quick update video. If you enjoyed it, smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you want to support this content, check out the Patreon link in the description box below. Turn on your notifications, and as always, Slava Ukraine. See you in the next video. Peace out.